be recorded and students can review that information later. I'm kind of excited about that because even if a student does attend a live session, they can review it again. So maybe their understanding will be solidified even more. So that should be available not only that evening, but it'll be available for them for a long time. The most important aspect from the student perspective will be attendance. So on the very first 2 days of school, I'm going to ask each and every student, regardless of circumstance, as best that they can to please be in attendance. Attendance will be monitored and audited by the Texas Education Agency. And most of you know that our school funding is based on student attendance and student enrollment. We would like to see that trend continue throughout the entire school year, but we do understand that based on current circumstances, maybe some of our students are helping with the family income, and so they may not be available during the live sessions. But I think it's also important that our teachers understand that. For those who cannot attend a live session, students have until 11:59 p.m. to log into the hub, and by this time everybody should be familiar with the hub, in order to submit an assignment, and that will count for their attendance if they are unable to attend the regular school day. We just reviewed the plan with our teachers on Monday. We had a follow-up with them on yesterday, Tuesday. So we wanted to definitely cover that and review that with them before we released it to parents. Given that HISD schools and offices are closed today and tomorrow, I foresee us being able to release that plan sometime next week to parents. I always say that Carnegie would not be the school that it is today without the active participation of parents, and I truly mean that. Parents were responsible for the startup of our independent program, our school, Carnegie Vanguard, I want to say 18 years ago. This is the beginning of my 16th year. That I always say, excuse me, this is the best gig that I've ever had. I truly appreciate everyone who comes together and are true key stakeholders in the success of our program and school. So thank you for our returning parents, and we look forward to your involvement this year. We are under great guidance from our PTO executive board, in which I attend our monthly meetings, and we're very excited to have the leadership under Susan Hawes. Another change I must share with everyone. Our sophomores last year became very familiar, hopefully, with the 9th grade email. That is because we have, out of the 9th grade class, out of our student body in the 9th grade, students come from approximately 50 or more different middle schools with different levels of exposure to the curriculum. So we had a 9th grade email. We still will continue to have the 9th grade email so that our students can become acclimated to our program. But as students matriculate from grade level to grade level, we like to impose a little bit more responsibility upon our students. So as sophomores, they will not have the 9th grade email. What they will continue to have in all grade levels is a planner. So I'm holding now the current planner for the 2021 school year. And the front cover is, you'll see, it's a pixelated design since we're digital, at least for the start of the year. We see the planner as an extremely important organizational tool. So hopefully your students last year became familiar with the planner, which includes a component of the student handbook. When this went to press, that was sometime in June. There are some updates to it, and those will be indicated on the school website. So the handbook portion of the planner is actually online if parents would like to visit that as well. It also includes an agenda. I think one of the most important tools that students can do, or strategies that they can do, is to accurately notate their assignments on the particular day or the date that it's due. Many times the teacher will initial that the student has accurately recorded the appropriate homework or assignment. And then parents can also initial it at home so that there's communication between home and school. But once again, as sophomores, hopefully the majority of our students are familiar with the planner. We're very proud of our accolades at Carnegie, mostly for academic, but we also find that our students are very well-rounded, and we'd love to see that continue. We love to be supportive of all of our students and their needs academically, socially, and emotionally. Of course, I don't think anybody's perfect. No school is perfect. And so I welcome your feedback. And I always say I accept the good, the bad. That will help us to grow. The only thing I dislike is the ugly. So please keep it on the up and up. So my method of communication is via email. That way, administrators can take care of their duties, which include monitoring learning and observing instruction in the classroom, even virtually. But we pride ourselves on responding within 24 hours. So may not get to parent emails until after school hours, but we are very dedicated to meeting the needs of our clients, meaning our students and our parents. And I'll be on the call for approximately an hour, so if there are any questions, I'm glad to address those. Once again, welcome everybody.
Mr. Moss, thank you. Thank you for your kind words, and thank you very much for that detailed information about what we can all expect from this school year. We do have a question already in the chat. Due to the pandemic, working parents may not be able to be fully attentive to young elementary children, and high school students are not able to go out to collect volunteer hours. Has it been considered that the high school students might earn volunteer hours for basically tutoring their younger siblings? Mr. Moss, you may not have an answer to that right off, but can you discuss that with the counselors or whoever handles volunteer hours, please?
Most certainly. And for those of you, probably most of you know this, but if you don't, there is a requirement, and it's not necessarily tied to graduation, but we would like all of our students upon graduation to have accumulated 100 hours of community service. So that is a portion of the handbook. But given the circumstances with COVID, we understand that we may have to make an exception for this particular year. If there are ways that students can accumulate that, I think we are completely open to that. Any community service hours does require for an adult or a leader of an organization or whatever to sign off on that. But I think given the circumstances, we would certainly highly appreciate siblings or our current high school students who can provide academic assistance and tutorials to our younger resources and students.
Okay, thank you. Well, we'll move into the more PTO-centric portion right now. The school, toss back to Mr. Moss right after saying that, the school was supposed to have upperclassmen or returning student check-in today, Friday, and Monday. Obviously, today's was canceled so that everybody could go home and batten down their hatches. Mr. Moss, do you have any plans for Friday? Do you know yet, or we'll wait until the storm passes and then see?
So between today and tomorrow, we will monitor the weather. As of right now, Monday we're good, but Friday is a maybe. We hope to be able to post information on the school website tomorrow. The district has asked that employees work remotely on Friday, but we are determined, if we possibly can, to come into the building on Friday in order to distribute planners, a few textbooks, very few textbooks, course schedules, and etc. on Friday. If we do actually have to cancel or postpone Friday, most likely it would be in the afternoons of Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week. But as of right now, Monday, we're good to go. Friday is a maybe.
Okay. So the alternate schedule, the proposed alternate schedule is all day Monday with a lunch break, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday afternoons.
Correct.
And then I see a question. This is the first I've heard about upper class check-in. Did a scheduling email go out? And then I see an answer. There's a link on the hub. It was also on the Carnegie, the official, run by Ms. Matsu, the Dean of Instruction, Carnegie High School Facebook page, which indeed was how the PTO found out about it. And that actually ties into the PTO, because we will be present at a returning student check-in, both to help out as volunteers, and also we plan to be selling t-shirts. So this is our big t-shirt pitch. As you all probably know by now, Carnegie does not require a uniform, but we do sell school t-shirts. We have some new designs this year that our store manager is very happy about. So when you bring your student in, please come and check out the t-shirt stand. They're also, for the first time with the pandemic, we have moved our store online. We're still refining it, but you can place an order online and either pick it up, or if you've ordered an item that is currently out of stock, once check-in is over, we will figure out a way to collect our back orders and get them to you. Please be patient with us, because we've never had everything run online before, and we're learning it as we go along.
Could I add also, maybe someone can confirm, I did schedule a phone notification that should have been delivered last night at between 6:30 and 8. Okay, you did receive
that, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, and I see questions being answered, and some of this, honestly, I don't see, because I have an incoming freshman, so I don't necessarily receive the upper class emails. Do we have to RSVP for student check-in? Yes, there's a sign up for time slots. Janice, can you tell us how to reach that sign up, please? Is that on the hub? Did that go out in an email? Okay, thanks. It went out on the hub.
Yes, and so if your students will check the hub, there is a sign up genius, and we are still closely abiding by social distancing measures. So students will be scanned for their temperature prior to entering the building, and they will keep 6 feet apart. Upperclassmen are welcome. They don't have to, but they're welcome to bring their district issued laptop computers. So there is an update from HISD, and they will be seated 6 or more feet apart in order to connect to the HISD network to update their computers as well.
Okay, I see another question. Mr. Moss, when will class schedules with details such as time of each class be available to students? Will that be part of check-in?
So students will receive their class schedule that outlines periods 1 through 7. And once again, we'll be on an even and an odd day. In the planner and also online, it discusses the odd and even day from 8:30 to 4:10. That most likely will not be on their course schedule, but they will know the order of their classes.
Okay. And then we've got another question about pickup. From a family that missed the yearbook pickup for last year, is it possible for them to get their yearbook at check-in?
Cindy Schultz, our librarian, oversees the yearbook distribution, so I'd have to contact her. We had not included that as part of the pickups for this week or next week. I can inquire with her, and we can post information on the website, or you can reach out directly to her via email. All of our faculty and staff and administrative emails are on our school website.
Okay. All right. I will give you all a little bit of information about PTO. PTO at Carnegie is free. We do not charge even nominal dues. If you are a parent or guardian of a student at CVHS, then you are eligible to be a member of the PTO. What we do need you to do, though, is go to the Vanguardian website and log into the directory and put your name in the directory so we know how to find you. And that is how you join the PTO. And Georgie Silverman, the volunteer vice president, is putting vanguardian.org, which is the web address. It's in the chat box, so you can copy and paste it if you want. We also have a newsletter if you're on the Guardian homepage, and I know Georgie, who is better at screen sharing than I am, will take you through all of this in just a few minutes. You can also sign up for the newsletter email, which is the PTO's best way of reaching out to you. Maria Calzada, also known as Perrin's mom, is the Vice President for Communications, and she has posted in the chat a survey that she created. It is very short and very painless about how best to reach out to you. Like I saw somebody's comment that said, I'm not on Facebook, how can I get information? That is exactly what that little survey is designed to ask you. So if you would answer it, we'd all be really appreciative of that. And she's posted it again. We also, let's see, we will be having, sorry, I'm trying to have three thoughts at once and they're all colliding with one another. I will turn it over to Georgie with the introduction that one of the ways that we usually kick off the school year with volunteering is having a school supply drive for our classrooms. And that's going to be a little different this year. And Georgie will also tell you how you sign up to volunteer at Carnegie Vanguard High School, which is both a little different this year and the same as it's ever been. Georgie, please go ahead.
Hi, everybody. I'm Georgie. I am the Vice President of Volunteers at Carnegie. I am going to just share my screen and take you through how to get into the directory, because like Susan said, getting into the directory makes you an official member of the PTO. That's all you have to do. But from getting into the directory, you can fill out the volunteer interest form, which outlines different ways you can volunteer at Carnegie. You can check what you're interested in. So let me go ahead and do that. I'm going to share my screen. Yay. And here we go. Okay, this is the Vanguardian website, the first page. You see that it says like get involved in the PTO, stay informed. You can sign up for, so if you click get involved in the PTO, you go over here and it talks about fundraising, which we'll hear more about later. We also have the directory, and that directory is important in two ways. First, you're an official member of the PTO. Second, you can actually look up other parents. Like say, you know, your kid met someone and you want to contact the parent for some reason. The only way you can do that is really through the directory. I mean, you know, that's kind of nice to have. And it's a good community building thing. So let me go back to the first page, the home page over here with all these convenient red buttons on it. So stay informed. If you click that, you're signing up for our weekly newsletter, which is good to have. You just put your email address in there. And then you get the weekly newsletter, which is another way. I know someone had a question about finding out if you're not on Facebook. That's the way to find out about a lot of things if you're not on Facebook, is to get the emailed weekly newsletter. Okay, so let me go ahead and I'm going to go down to the bottom. You can join the Facebook page, another thing for the directory, and then you can go here where it's you want to volunteer, sign up for volunteers in public schools. That's VIPS. And this register with VIPS takes you to their homepage at HISD. See right here, this is where you can click and get signed up to do the background check and be able to be an official volunteer at HISD. They ask that we do that for everybody. Okay, so I'm going back to the Vanguardian. I'm going to go to the CVHS directory. So you click on that. You register, log in. And you'll go through these steps. I'm logged in as Georgianne Silverman, so obviously I've already gone through these steps, but you confirm that your family information is correct. And you've got to do this every year. So returning parents, you have to reactivate your desire to be part of the directory and be part of our PTO. You confirm what information you would like included in the directory. If you just want your email in there, if you don't want your phone, but you're okay with your address, whatever you want to include in the directory, you include in the directory. It's probably, just so you know, we only use this for PTO stuff. So if you put your email in there, you know, you're only going to get PTO stuff. You're not going to get anything from anybody else because we would never share that information with anybody else. And step 3 is sign up to volunteer, which is my whole point, right? So I'm going to hit that sign up to volunteer, and that should take you to volunteer opportunities. And so you can volunteer for lunch sales, where you can, or just what this form really does is just indicate that you're interested to do that. And you'll be followed up with a sign up genius or something like that where you can actually sign up to do it. Teacher appreciation lunches, we need people to set up and serve the food, as well as to donate desserts and fruit and stuff like that. I would just want to go back to the lunch sales for a minute to describe what that is. What that is really 1 day a month, 2 hours, you sell food to the Carnegie kids from the PTO booth. And it's such a great opportunity to, 1, embarrass your children, which is always fun to do by showing up at their high school. 2, you actually get to see kind of Carnegie in motion, which I really loved when I did it. You know, you get a sense that of what the Carnegie student community is like. One thing I learned about them doing that is they're probably the most polite group of high school students I've ever encountered. They were extremely polite and very orderly. I appreciated that about them. I don't know if that's typical. And then you have the teacher appreciation lunches. You have the magnet tours, which are going to look really different this year because usually, of course, we have parents and we have student-led tours through the school with a parent there to answer parent-type questions. This year, it's going to look different because we're going to probably have to do it online, I think, definitely. But the Principal Moss and his staff will probably still need our help. So please sign up for that if you can. Event planning is something we always need. We have 3 fundraising events. Or 2 fundraising events that are socials, the fall social and the spring social. And we need parents who are good at event planning to help us with those, especially this year. We also need volunteers who work at the events, you know, doing whatever they're doing. Senior class parents, senior awards committee, and we have a friends and family campaign, which Rashana is going to talk more about later. That's kind of our big a donor campaign. It's instead of in lieu of like an auction or something, we just have people donate money, but you'll hear more about that later. Of course, we always need corporate sponsorships, community donations. Don't worry about the financial audit committee. That's done, I know, because I was part of it. And then there's just general, if you want to volunteer for anything. We also have this handy dandy carpool. If you want to, this year buses are totally different, so you might really need to get into a carpool with other parents in your zip code. If you sign up for this, I'm going to try and find someone who can organize the carpool with other people if you're interested in your zip code. Okay, so let me go back to the homepage just to see if I missed anything. I don't think I did. I need to go to the Vanguardian. Okay, there we are. And that's it. Does anybody have any questions so far on the PTO website or why you need to be part of the PTO directory? Anybody? I'll also be sending out, I know that people, I find that when I volunteer at a school, I meet other parents, I feel more a part of the community. A lot of the volunteer jobs are really easy and don't require a huge commitment. One thing I will talk about, so I would encourage you to volunteer, and you will be getting like periodic emails for different things that come up as they come up that give you a chance to volunteer. But you have to get into the directory in order to get those sign up geniuses that you love so much. And then here's, so be a part of the elite who get the sign up genius emails. What else did I want to say? Oh, school supply drive. Normally at the beginning of the year, we do this school supplies drive where the teachers have given us a wish list. We post it on Amazon. I send out a sign up genius or whoever, and they people sign up to donate different items and they buy them and they get delivered to the school, or else parents drop them off at school. And then we organize them into little bags and we give them to all the teachers. This year we can't do that because of COVID, so we're going to have a workaround. We also think that maybe the teachers might need different supplies this year because they'll be teaching from home. So we're going to find that out and we're going to organize that in a different way, but it will still be happening. So please look for that sign up genius so that you can participate in the school supply drive. All right, and and the teachers really appreciate that, and it makes a huge difference to them not to have to, either buy their own supplies or do without. So that's all I'm going to say about that. I'll stop sharing my screen. Does anybody have any questions, or does Susan or anybody else want to add to what I've said?
I will add, and actually you showed us the VIPS button. So if you all remember, there are two different buttons down for volunteering. One of them is Volunteer at Carnegie Vanguard, which takes you to the sign up sheet that Georgie showed. But the other is VIPS training, and kind of like the directory, that's something that you have to redo every year. VIPS is an acronym for Volunteering in Public Schools, or Volunteers in Public Schools. And every year you put in your information, you say which school you want to volunteer at, and they run a background check. Ideally, it doesn't take very long. In fact, this year is the easiest it's ever been. I had mine back within an hour, and somebody else yesterday, one of the freshman parents, said that she put in her information like elsewhere on her computer while she was taking part in yesterday's iteration of this call, and that before the end of the meeting, she had her background check finished and she was approved to volunteer. So please go ahead and do that right now before the school year starts and everybody tries to do it at once, which is when they get bogged down. But do know that in order to volunteer with students, you have to have that done first. No matter how long your students have been in HISD or how dedicated a volunteer you have been, you need to do the VIPS background check every year, and somebody always forgets to do it and shows up for their thing and gets a very unpleasant surprise. So please just get it done so you don't have to worry about it. And then we see there's a question in the chat. We were wondering why there were limited summer assignments for classes such as 10th grade English. Mr. Moss, could you take a minute to address that?
Sure. Limited summer assignments. The teachers could probably best answer that, but I imagine it was all part of COVID and actually allowing students to have a break from the school year. But I can certainly inquire with our sophomore teachers in regards to maybe fewer summer assignments than usual.
Okay, thank you. Moving on with the PTO stuff, we do not charge dues, but we do ask you for money, and that's called our Friends and Family campaign. For anybody who is new and might have come from a private school background, Friends and Family is really Carnegie's annual fund. We also have some vendor relationships. We're places where they will give a donation to Carnegie if you spend money at their shop. And Rachana Palacharla will tell you about that. Rachana is the mother of sophomore Anika Palacharla, and Rachana is a longtime volunteer. She has been a PTO officer. She's recently had to step back from an official job, but she is still around and involved.
Hi, everybody. Like Susan just introduced me, yes, I've been involved with PTO for more than 2 years. I've been the VP for volunteers, like what Georgie is doing right now. And now this year I took up the VP fundraising, but unfortunately I won't be able to continue too long. But in the meantime, I have a lot of information to share. Did you guys actually know that when the pandemic started and the school was closed, HISD froze school accounts? Which means that the school did not have any means of sponsoring any of the senior events or any of the events in school. The senior events were very important because those were the last time the seniors would have had to experience. The graduation was all virtual. Nothing was available for them to enjoy. The PTO stepped in. In the last minute, we stepped in. We sponsored T-shirts for all the seniors. We were able to do a diploma drive-through. And that actually did impact everyone in the senior class a lot. And I did remember getting some thank yous too. This is not the only thing that PTO does. We do look out for families in need, and we do collect food during Thanksgiving, Christmas, and this year it was unique because we did want to help out those families in need for buying groceries, and we were able to even sponsor a scholarship for one of the seniors. We do this very secretly. We do not know who the families are. We do it through Ms. Alvaranga, but we are there for them. Not only that, PTO was always able to be there for various clubs for, like for example, there was a track club that was started last year. It's a brand new club. There was so much expense that was needed. The sponsor of the club was really trying to get the parents to donate. But that was not going to be enough to get things in time to start the track club. PTO stepped in. We sponsored all the equipment. Same thing with teachers. When they have any equipment that's out of service, we stepped in. We bought new technology to them. And there's many such cases where PTO does contribute and help the school. But we cannot do all these things without your contributions. And that's where the fundraising aspect of PTO comes in. I'm going to post a site in the chat. This is the best place to find out more information about how to donate. I can also share it right now, share my screen and show you how to access it. Even though we have some links in the Vanguardian, which I'll also cover a little bit. Let me just share my screen first. Can you see my screen? So this is the Vanguardian page. This was what was used potentially for everything earlier on, but we moved on to a newer format where it's much simpler for us to create websites. And that's what I just posted. It's called the Membership Toolkit. To be able to access it, you would have to log in.
And I will hop in for a moment and say, this is the exact same login that you use for the directory. So once you're in the directory, you can get to anything you need or want.
Yeah. So as you can see, I've listed all the, not all, but at least the main highlights of what the PTO does and what it has been doing in the past year. And now you can go ahead and put in your donation. We also, as part of the donation, want to see how you would want to be recognized in our newsletters or on our website, because it's a family donation and you want, maybe you want to put in your kids' names or anything, however you want it to be recognized. Something new I wanted to do this year was to get a feedback on where do you really want to see your donations go. If you have a preference, we would really want to hear from you. So that's where the preferred projects means. And this is where you enter that information. And your amount goes here. You would be giving us a donation through PayPal. If you are not comfortable doing it online, there's information on how you can send us a check. The check can be mailed to us. That's the easiest way to do right now. And we will at some point go and collect these checks from the school. I also want to point out that we as PTO for years have been doing recognitions based on your donations. You could stay anonymous, but we will note your donation and we would be sending some goodies to you, and as well as we would offer you 2 free tickets to our spring social. That's a very popular event that comes up around April. These are something that you can read up at your own convenience. Now, once you're done with your donation, all you do is add to cart and check out. That's when the donation amount basically comes to us, and we have a manual process of accommodating that amount. And Helen, our awesome treasurer, she does the accounting, and the VP fundraiser, I also get to know the information. And that's how we keep track of all the donations. There's also something that Susan just mentioned. She mentioned that there were tie-ups with some of the grocery stores like Kroger and Office Depot. These are also sources of income for us, wherein if you do sign up and specify Carnegie as your school of choice, then every amount you spend with those stores, we get a small percentage of it. And it's not insignificant. It does give us some leverage to spend. So please do go and register Carnegie as your school. I think that was the main thing I wanted to talk about. We really appreciate your donations so far. Since you're not freshmen, I know you probably already, some of you must have contributed already in your freshman year. And thank you so much for your contributions. And I look forward to having more events sponsored by PTO through your donations. Thanks.
Rachana, thank you for walking us through all of that. I have a couple follow-on notes. As I keep calling it upperclassmen check-in, even though it includes sophomores. So returning student check-in, I will be prowling up and down Genesee Street, trying to get a paper packet to everybody. That paper packet will include a paper version of the volunteer sheet and the friends and family letter. It will also include a flyer about the vendors that we have relationships with and a self-addressed envelope to the school, although you'll have to put a stamp on it, I'm afraid, if you want to mail a check to the school. The staff will be at school, and so they will be able to have mail delivered to the school. So you can be assured that if that's the route you decide to go, that there will be live humans at the school to pick up the mail, and that letter and check is being returned to the school. I also feel like I need to clarify the request for donation box. Unlike, say, when you get an alumni fundraising letter from you and they say, do you want your thing to go to the general fund or do you want it to go to scholarships? We can't promise exactly that we are going to put your money in the pot for supporting technology. But what we do want to do is we've never tried to figure out exactly what parents want the PTO to support. And so we are trying to listen to everybody, listen to all the parents and find out what projects are you most interested in? Where do you want money to go? Over the last year, we've also worked on reaching out to the teachers, and we got started on this and then COVID happened. So all of those projects are currently on hold. But we did attend one of the teacher appreciation lunches that Georgie was talking about and have a conversation with the teachers about how to talk with the PTO about bigger projects. One of the things that PTO gives each of them is a classroom stipend, which is a few $100s every year to spend on something for their classroom. And we were looking for bigger projects than that. As I said, COVID put that all on hold. We're trying to ask them what they need and ask you all what you want to support. So if you have ideas, please put them in that box. We'll move back to, sorry, I know I sound very disjointed right now. The vendor relationships are also on the website. So please go poking around the Vanguardian and see what there is to see. ask Mr. Moss again for something coming back to the school. There's been some talk about we graduate away from the freshman email, but we can still get online through the program that used to be called Grade Speed. However, after several years of talking about Grade Speed is going to be changed and updated, they're finally getting a new program just in time for everything else to change too. So to avoid that, hopefully getting lost in the shuffle, Mr. Moss, could you tell us about the new generation of Grade Speed and/or Parent Student Connect?
Yes, and so what parents might be familiar with PS Connect on their end, it was Grade Speed on the teacher side. That was all part of Chancery, which is or was our database. We are now moving to something called Power School. If parents will visit CarnegieVanguard.com, that's the school website, directly under my picture, there is a link to parent training, which is a part of the district's website. And they can find more information regarding Power School on that link. There is information, there's also a parent tutorial video, so on and so forth. There might be 8 or 9 or 10 different links that parents can click on to learn more about Power School.
Okay, and I think the go live is in about a week. I want to say next Monday, but I'm not completely certain of that. But that is a way for parents to be able to log in and check on their kids' assignments, their kids' grades. So that is a way for us to keep track of our students and what they are supposed to be doing and how they actually are doing. We also, let's see, we've got some questions. The first one is, how are sports, UIL, and other extracurriculars being handled with COVID? And I think that would include school clubs as well. Mr. Moss, can you talk about that?
Certainly. So Friday of last week, the athletics department of HISD met with Ms. Miyuki Scott, our campus-based athletic coordinator, and myself, and they informed us that HISD is allowing practices for our fall sports. So on a typical campus, that would mean football and other sports. For us specifically, it's volleyball and I believe cross country. So I was a little surprised with that, but they do want us to continue to abide by social distancing, and our athletes can wear their masks. Ms. Scott has come up with a schedule either during 7th period for those students who do have athletics, volleyball, 7th period, and then after school. So we should be able to post that sometime next week. And as of right now, I believe that affects volleyball, cross country, and if I'm not mistaken, team tennis. I need to check with Mr. Tran, the sponsor for that sport. And we'll take it from there. I also saw a question in regards to the budget. The budget pretty much is like it was in the springtime. We have very limited resources right now. Our budget is influenced by our student enrollment and attendance. So that's why we're encouraging attendance for each and every student, each and every period. Any expenditure that we would like to request has to go through our area superintendent. And of course, we must use businesses that have been identified as approved by HISD. So it can't just be anything. It has to be something that is definitely beneficial and worthwhile in terms of materials and supplies for our students and teachers. And once again, we don't have the ability to just use our pro cards or whatever. Everything must be approved, funneled on a specific form and approved by our area superintendent. What the budget will look like later in the year is probably going to be much different. And especially if a decision is made by October 19th, to bring in a percentage of our students, or ultimately at some point in this year, if we're able to bring back 100% of our students into the building. That remains to be seen.
Mhm. Can you tell us a little bit about the school plan? We know we're online for the first grading period. What might happen after that? What are the choices, so to speak?
Yes. So starting September 8th through at least October 16th, we are 100% virtual, in which instruction and learning will be delivered via Microsoft Teams. Throughout that time, the district will be evaluating and reevaluating plans. As of now, my understanding is October the 19th, we might be able to bring back 40% of our student enrollment. How that works, I'm not exactly sure. I'm sure, like many of you, you may have heard plans that other districts are going to have certain students come in. Maybe it's alphabetical, maybe it's A, last names A through G. They come in on maybe a Monday, and then maybe another percentage of the population comes in on Tuesday. And so maybe they'll rotate back and forth. As far as I know, the district hasn't come up with specific plans yet, but we have, I guess, the next 6 weeks to evaluate, reevaluate, and come up with a definite plan that way.
Okay. And there's a question in the comments. 40% is the proposed number of returning students in that second grading period?
That is correct. That's my understanding.
And then you're not sure exactly how that's going to be sorted and how we decide which 40% and how that's handled. Is that right?
That's correct.
That's still being discussed.
Yes.
Okay. And thank you for talking about that. There is, some of you all may have seen, there is a virtual online training for parents as well. I've done it. It took about 20 to 30 minutes, depending on how thoroughly you want to read things. And they stopped to give you easy little quizzes too. And so the district would like all of us to do that so that we understand what they mean when they talk about virtual education. So if you can, I will try to find the link and post that on the Carnegie Vanguard community website. Another set of links that I will try to find and post is the special populations department has a similar set of kind of webinars out for the upcoming week through September 3rd. And GT counts as a special population. So late in the afternoon of September 3rd, they are planning a webinar about secondary GT education. I have no idea what that's going to be like. It's like 4 to 4:30, I think. And oh, Michelle Farrell just posted the parent training link for virtual ed. Thank you, Michelle. And the special populations webinar set also includes some special populations like dyslexia, 504 plans, and other special populations that sometimes do overlap with kids at Carnegie. So if that applies to your child, please take a look at that. They are reaching out to parents. That's everything that we intended to cover today, but you all might have some questions too. Everybody's been really faithful about posting questions. I see one. Will clubs be allowed to function virtually? Mr. Moss?
Yes. So during the 90-minute lunch period, we think that at the very least 15 minutes will be dedicated towards clubs, and possibly more time depending if the teacher doesn't have a lot of appointments during their office hours. But we also have advocacy on an even day, and that's 90 minutes. We're very excited to have a member of Communities and Schools that will be a part of our campus daily, and we'll be able to address social and emotional needs during that 15 minutes portion of the 90-minute advocacy. But then advocacy is also open to students who want to meet with their classmates whether that's in a club or organization. And so their teacher sponsors would also have a portion of that time to meet with clubs virtually.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody have other questions? Silence. Okay. Oh, I see one. Our treasurer is asking me to stress corporate matching. So part of the fundraising effort is many companies offer matching donations. And if your company is one that does that, it will probably be through your human resources department. And PTO would be delighted to offer our tax ID, any paperwork that they want to see. We are a 501c3, so we are a registered nonprofit, and we would be happy to help you out with that. We usually, last year I think we had 5 or 6 matching donations come through, and if companies want to talk to us about they would like to have some kind of recognition in the website, in the newsletter, we would be happy to talk with them about that too. Is that everything you wanted me to cover, Helen? Okay. All right. Are there any more questions?
If I can make one more comment, one thing that I failed to mention earlier, open house will be virtual this year, and that is currently scheduled for the first evening of school. So that would be Tuesday evening, September the 8th. This year, the district also asked every school to have a Meet the Teacher night. Some of you may be familiar with that. I don't necessarily know the difference between Meet the Teacher night and open house, but we're required to do so. So with that in mind, our teachers are putting together videos of just a little bit of snippets of information regarding them personally. That will be on Meet the Teacher night, and currently, tentatively, that's scheduled for Friday, September the 4th. And then we'll have more of the professional portion in regards to expectations about academics in the classroom and virtual learning, et cetera. That's on Tuesday evening, September the 8th.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Well, it's 2:01 by the clock on my computer, so we've been chatting for about an hour. I hope everyone enjoyed their coffee. It has just started raining at my house in the last 10 minutes or so, so I guess Laura is here. And thank you all very much for attending this afternoon. Please feel free to reach out with more questions. Come to vanguardian.org, join us on Facebook. Very happy that you're here, and welcome.
I need you to taste it. It's so good.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Stay safe.
Thanks.